Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Today this is going to be Resimulating Big Brother 10. And let's waste absolutely no time at all and get straight into this. This is widely known as the best Big Brother season, so let's get into it. The house Let's eagerly wait in front of the house where they see 13 voting cards spread across the long table. Julie Chen informs them that the first head of household will be determined by a house vote. Each house guest steps up to a voting card and casts their vote for who they want to be the first HOH. Angie votes for Brian to win. April votes for Ollie to win. Brian votes for Angie. Ollie votes for April. Dan votes for Keisha. Jerry votes for Ollie. Jesse votes for April. Keisha votes for Rennie. Yeah. Libra votes for Keisha. Memphis votes for Dan. Michelle votes for Jesse. Rennie votes for Keisha. And Steven votes for Angie. One person received 3 votes. It was Keisha. She's the HOH. Congratulations to her. Who does she nominate? Let's go straight to the bottom and see who she nominates. And it does turn out to be Jesse and April. So let's get straight into the veto selection, because obviously we do have the competition. So Ollie, Rennie, and Dan are all selected to compete in this. And Jesse actually wins the power veto, so good for him. He uses it on himself, so because he obviously was on the block. So now Keisha has named Michelle as the replacement. Oh no, Michelle! Oh dear, Michelle. The final nominees are now Michelle and April. Let's see who votes for who. Brian votes to evict April. Dan votes to evict Michelle. Memphis and Libra vote for April. Ollie votes for Michelle. Jesse votes for April. Same thing with Rennie. Jerry votes for Michelle. Steven votes for Michelle. Angie votes for April. There you go. And yeah, April's out in a 6-4 vote. Good. Okay. I guess. Too bad for her, I guess? I don't know. Now for week 2. Let's get into it. Steven wins the HOH. I can't believe it. It's so obviously he was going to win this, right? Sure. Congratulations. Jesse and Libra are the noms. Rennie, Dan, and Memphis are all selected to compete along with in the veto comp. Libra wins POV. Good for her. Good for her. She uses it on herself. Uses the power on herself. Good for her. Steven names Jerry as the replacement nom. So it's Jesse and Jerry on the block. So here we go. So Rennie votes for Jesse. Ollie votes for Jesse. Memphis votes for Jerry. Brian votes for Jerry. Angie votes for Jerry. Michelle votes for Jerry. Dan votes for Jerry. Is it even close? Keisha votes for Jesse. And Libra votes for Jesse. I think it's it's a 5-4 vote. It's actually closer than I thought. Yeah. There's just a bunch of Jerry votes in a row. So Jerry's out. Jerry is out of the game, guys. Dan, widely known as one of the best Big Brother players ever, has just won the HOH. The third HOH comp. Or the first HOH of the season. Who does he nominate? Jesse and Michelle. We're kind of at a pattern, guys. All these 3 are all selected to compete. All these 6 people are competing in the veto comp. Ollie, Keisha, and Memphis are all selected. Keisha wins POV. Good for her. Jesse and Michelle are the final noms. Keisha doesn't use it. So Memphis votes for Jesse. Libra votes for Jesse. Angie votes for Michelle. Keisha votes for Jesse. Brian votes for Jesse. And Steven votes for Jesse. Same thing with Ollie and Rennie. So yeah, 7-1 vote. Everyone just wanted Jesse out of the game, guys. This is the extent of what happened here. Week 4, Memphis wins HOH. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Ollie and Brian named as the noms. Okay. So Michelle, Libra, and Dan are all selected to compete along with these guys. POV. Ollie receives a slop pass and must place someone on slop. He chooses Dan. Michelle receives a red unit for a week. Brian receives. I should probably read this. The house guests enter the backyard to see a hockey rink with a goal inside. Inside of the goal are various numbered slots. Each round, the house guests will shoot a puck into the net, hoping to get a low number. The house guest with the highest number each round is eliminated and can claim one of 6 prizes. Any house guest eliminated after a prize is claimed can keep their new prize or steal someone else's. The house guest that holds the golden power veto at the end wins. So we've seen this tons of times, guys. But Ollie receives the slot pass and must place someone on, and he chooses Dan. Michelle receives a red unitard for a week. Good for her. Brian receives a letter from home. Libra receives $10,000, and Memphis receives a Hawaiian holiday. Dan wins the power of veto. Yeah. All right. Ollie and Brian state why they should be saved. Dan uses it on Brian. Memphis names Libra as the replacement, so the final noms are Ollie and Libra. All right, so Angie votes for Libra, Dan votes for Ollie, Steven votes for Libra, Michelle votes for Libra, Brian votes for Ollie, Rennie votes for Libra, Keisha votes for Ollie. Alrighty, 4-3 vote there. Okay, week 5. We're still getting through this. Angie wins the HOH. She nominates Keisha and Rennie. Dan, Steven, and Michelle are all selected to compete in the veto. Michelle wins the power veto, uses it on Keisha. Dan is named as the replacement, so the final noms are Dan and Rennie. So Brian votes for Rennie, Ollie votes for Dan, Steven votes for Dan, Michelle votes for Dan, Keisha votes for Dan, Memphis votes for Rennie. So Dan is out. Backdoor. Good. You backdoored Dan out of the game. Interesting. Brian wins HOH. Okay. Who does he nominate? It's Memphis and Ollie. Keisha, Rennie, and Steven are all selected to compete in the veto competition, and Keisha does win the POV here. And then she uses it on Memphis, and Rennie is named as the replacement nom, so it's Rennie and Ollie as the final nominees for the week. We have Memphis voting for Ollie, Steven voting for Ollie, Michelle voting for Rennie, Keisha voting for Ollie, and Angie voting for Rennie. 3-2 vote. All right, week 7. Okay, Keisha wins HOH. Who does she nominate? It is Michelle and Brian, everybody. Memphis, Rennie, and Steven are all selected to compete. Steven wins the POV. He doesn't use it. So it's Memphis voting for Brian, Angie voting for Michelle, Rennie votes for Brian, and Steven votes for Michelle. So there's a tie here. And Keisha, obviously the tiebreaker, votes for Michelle here. So there we go. Now we're on the fast forward here. Rennie wins HOH. Nominees are Brian and Angie. All these people are everyone's will play since everyone's eligible. Rennie wins POV, uses it on Angie. Memphis is named as a replacement. So the final noms are Brian and Memphis. Keisha votes for Brian. Angie votes for Memphis. Steven votes for Brian. So that's Brian out of the game. So week 8 here. We're getting closer to the end here. Keisha wins HOH and nominates Angie and Steven. Everyone's competing in the veto. Keisha wins that veto and uses it on Steven. Memphis is named as the replacement nominee. And so Steven votes for Memphis and Rennie votes for Angie here. So there's a tie and Keisha votes to evict Angie. Okay, week 9. Rennie wins HOH, nominates Memphis and Steven. Whatever. Keisha wins POV. She doesn't use it. And votes to evict Steven. So, yeah. Okay, we're at the finale already. So these are the final 3 of Memphis, Keisha, and Rennie. Okay, part 1. Memphis wins part 1. Okay. Rennie wins part 2. So who wins part 3? It's okay. It's Rennie. And Memphis is evicted. So we get a final 2 of Keisha and Rennie. So who do you think is going to win this? Put your guesses in the comments below. Let's see who wins. BB10 in this world. So Memphis votes for Keisha. Michelle votes for Rennie. Dan votes for Keisha. Ollie votes for Rennie. Brian votes for Rennie. Angie votes for Keisha. Steven votes for Keisha. And Keisha wins in a 4-3 vote. Good for her. Who's America's favorite? It's Michelle. That's our favorite juror. So there we go. There we go. Yeah. Keisha is the winner of this. So, yeah. There we go. We're going to resimulate this, because why not? Because, yep, that's what we do at the end of these. It's Dan and Brian in the final 2. Interesting. Okay, who wins? Okay, no. Brian wins in a 4-3 vote. Good for him. All right, anyways, that is going to be it for this BB10. I guess next up is BB11. We'll see when that happens. Obviously, yeah. We'll see. It will come out eventually. But there we go. That's it. Thanks for watching.